Hello everyone, welcome to This Week in Stupid for the 21st of February 2016.
Ah yes, the good old days, when this show was hosted by a man with a German name, also raised in Germany, Carl. You guys miss Carl? Well, he's not doing This Week in Stupid anymore, instead he is doing something else. He is multiplying, so he has produced an offspring. And as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, did Carl have coitus in March? I think that's about right. Man. See, I need to answer the questions of the universe. I need to constantly keep my brain thinking. And these are the type of questions that I often ponder about. But you know what? I want to congratulate him for a job well done. And I want to wish much health upon his son. May he grow rapidly so he can get access to money and send me loads of super chats. And may he also cry a lot, especially during the night, so that he keeps Sargon awake, and then Sargon produces worse content, and by comparison my content would be better. Like, people will stop watching him and have to tune into me instead. Now, one of the main reasons that I'm bringing it up is because I also want to make a suggestion for Carl. And for anyone else that lives in the United Kingdom and performed the fucking during this time. You see, you can attend a charity which teaches men how to breastfeed. Only if they identify as a woman. So I'm just putting it out there. You know, it's up for consideration. You can attend if you are the targeted demographic. And if you do, please tell me what is being discussed there. Because I genuinely am baffled. I mean, for the past several thousand years, people have managed to just instinctively breastfeed. But apparently in 2020 you need a seminar. I mean, the way I understand, right, is that you position the newborn, the suckling, you position it towards the breast. You press the head gently against the bosom, and the magic happens. But apparently not. Apparently, money is being required to fund people in order to explain this. So I'm really bewildered. Like, what further explanation is there required? What more instructions do people need to receive? And will they receive said instructions from progressive and forward-thinking people such as this? Fabulous parenting. This is what parents are reading nowadays. This is if you're a mummie, okay, you need to internalize this. Okay, make sure that you don't go to Parler because it's a dangerous far-right place, but do read the mainstream media because it tells you that, kid you not, my kids are assholes. Looking after them is boring, and reading bedtime stories make me want to gouge out my eyes. Well, you know, hopefully when this mademoiselle grows old and wrinkly, her kids are not going to think the same about her. It's like, ugh, my grandmother is an asshole. Looking after her is boring. Yeah, you know, selfishness does seem to be a double-edged sword, doesn't it? I mean, if you're going to be selfish with other people, don't be shocked when other people are going to be selfish as well. I do have a question. Wasn't it customary in your country when you see a child misbehaving to blame the parent? I mean, if the child is an asshole, most people here in Romania would say, hey, look, it's not his fault, okay? It's the parents, it's the upbringing. But no, we don't think like that anymore. Well, you know, I guess parenting isn't as important in a very progressive and forward-thinking society. For you see, if you want to abolish capitalism and achieve perfect equality, you need to abolish the family. Because the state is there for you. The state is going to fix all your problems, including parenting. You can go out clubbing, you can have fun, and the state will take care of your child. Nothing says good parenting and compassion like the empathetic warm embrace of the government. The government will just take care of everything. All you need to do is relax and pay more taxes. Just more and more and more taxes. And then everything will be solved. Literally every single problem that humanity is dealing with, no matter the crisis, the solution is the same. Bigger government and more taxes. And speaking of big government, apparently Adolf Hitler has been yet again elected into office. Now, it's not what you think, YouTube moderator. Like, I know you just want to press that demonetize button. I know your mouse is going there, but okay, calm down. Calm down, please. Hear me out. Alright, before demonetizing, I'm not talking about the commander of the Third Reich. I am talking about this gentleman from Namibia. Apparently, he sports the same name. Doesn't have the mustache, nor does he have inclinations for world domination tendencies. It's just like probably the type of guy that's constantly asked, hey, are you related to? And he's like, oh, no, just name coincidence. I gotta say though, it's probably difficult to beat this guy. Like, imagine starting a YouTube account with his name. Like, he just starts a YouTube account with his personal name. And then some moderator goes like, oh, no. And he's like, wait. By the way, YouTube said that they're going to elevate black voices. Like, if he starts a YouTube account, is he going to be on the trending page? Like, are we going to see the Führer? Huh? It's not nice to call him the Führer, though, because that's not his position. He hasn't got it up the ranks yet. But, like, can you imagine if he starts a Twitter account and someone has to give him a check mark? Like, you're going to see some progressive individual at Twitter, like, having to move the mouse and go like, I don't want to, but I must, because he's a politician now and he needs the check mark. I will be looking forward to hearing from, I guess, Adolf Hitler II's political career, and if he passes some interesting legislation, I will report on it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Like, why didn't he change his name? I guess he must be proud of it. You know, it's the name given to him by his father and mother, and he respects the legacy, I suppose. Very problematic, though. Very problematic. Now, speaking of dictators, The Guardian suggests that Donald Trump can and should be stopped from running in 2024. Now, you might ask, what is The Guardian? And to answer this, I would have to point out that during my parents' time, when they wanted moral guidance and enlightenment, they would go to the church. But now the church is part of the racist, sexist, institutionalized patriarchy. So people go to The Guardian for moral enlightenment. And in this article, they condemn the US president for questioning the integrity of the US elections without blaming the Russians. And because of this, he is a threat to democracy. So what is the solution? To lock him up. To lock him up. Remember when Trump supporters were chanting, lock her up? Well, that is fascistic. That is just horrible. Who would do such a thing? Who would try to arrest their political opponents after getting up? Right? That's fascistic. Lock him up, though, is very progressive. It is peak progressivism. If locking him up doesn't work, then he should just be stopped from running in 2024. Because, you see, according to The Guardian, the American people need to be protected from themselves. Like, even if the majority of people from America want something, The Guardian, which, by the way, is an unelected private company that can do whatever it wants, they know better. Like, they know better than the American people. You know, I suggest, and this is my, you know, like, personal opinion, why even have voting to begin with? Why not just allow members of the press like The Guardian to just name who should be in charge? I mean, it would be a much better system, because people, you know, sometimes they do bad things that is going to hurt them. Like, they end up hurting themselves. So you need someone like The Guardian to protect people from themselves. Because people are dumb and they just vote for liars into office. Like just blatant out lying, pushing misinformation, trying to confuse the public, which are simple-minded. You know, like this is how they used to call it here in Europe during medieval time. It's simple-mindedness, right? Simpletons. Like the people don't understand. But luckily we got millionaires and billionaires in order to fact-check and to bring the public onto the correct path. You see, here you have the American president that keeps making the claim that the most dangerous cities in the United States are all run by Democrats. And they aren't, because we got the people at the Washington Post to fact-check this information. And as it turns out, that Trump was lying. You see, 3 of the top 20 cities are not run by the Democrats. 2 of them are run by independents, and one out of the 20 is ran by a Republican. So there you go. I mean, checkmate, you bigot. Like, look, the stats don't lie. Unlike the president. The president constantly lies when he opens his mouth. Why would he claim something like this if it's not true? Why would he say something so untrue if not to deceive you? He is the deceiver. He's got like a forked tongue every time he speaks. And this is why we need to trust the mainstream media, because they don't lie. Anyone that tells you that the mainstream media puts fake news is fake news themselves. Right? They get fact-checked by the Twitter. Because look here, look how honest the mainstream media is. And at least I can get behind honesty. The Washington Post says that Washington's aristocracy hopes a Biden presidency will make schmoozing great again. Now, later on, they changed the title, and from the aristocracy, they changed it to the establishment. But at least you get to understand the way things are. Okay, you have the people in power, the aristocracy, and then you have the rule, the peasants, the simpletons. And Joe Biden seems to understand this fact, which is why he protects the interest of the rich. In other words, for example, mandatory registration under National Firearms Act. Okay, remember when Democrats say that they're against the idea of having an ID to vote because an ID is very expensive and it's difficult for more vulnerable and impoverished people to get one? Well, take into account that with that in mind, the Biden administration wants to pass this law to make mandatory registration under National Firearms Act and a $200 tax for every single one assault rifle armed, and an extra $200 tax for each, which means every single one, high capacity magazine. Isn't this progressive? Isn't this what only the rich will have access to firearms under this legislation? Isn't it beautiful? I mean, it brings a tear into my eye. Like, just knowing how to separate the wheat from the chaff. Is not the Democratic Party the party of the strong? I mean, if this doesn't say we live in an aristocracy, I don't know what does. Ugh. Why won't the masses just stop complaining? Like, look, lady, it's very simple, okay? Number one, it's for your own good. If you don't understand it, that's alright. You know, it's like when your parents have some unreasonable rules and expectations, but it's because they love you. That's what the government does. But secondly, a lot of people just keep seeing mayors and governors, mostly Democrats. In fact, I think it's almost entirely Democrats. Like, I haven't seen a single right-winger. But, you know, like, they're breaking their own quarantine, and they're breaking their own rules, and, you know, they're doing things that are endangering the public. But, like, look, let me explain to you how it's like, right? They are the aristocracy. Like, they are, as the Washington Post likes to put it, the aristocracy. They are better than you. And they are able to think better than you. So they can be more careful. Which is why they are allowed in order to have a little bit more of a wiggle room. And the sooner you accept this, the sooner you understand this, the more easy life becomes. Because you stop worrying about these things. You stop, like, you know, when you question these things and you're outraged. I mean, did you see, like, what an emotional wreck that lady was? That's surely not a good thing for her mental health. Like, instead what you need to do is to just relax, trust the government, sit in your own house, and watch something relaxing. Like, I don't know, maybe a cat video. Like, I don't know, isn't this funny? You know, like, isn't this taking your mind off of all of your worries? Like, look, there's a cat, and there's an orchestra, and the cat is cuddling, and the members of the orchestra don't really know what to do. It's really lovely. And it just allows you to relax. Just take your mind off. Just stop thinking about politics and all the important stuff. Just calm down and share a cat video. And by the way, when I give cat videos, I give the best cat videos, don't I? I mean, isn't this like really great? Honestly, like someone should hire me in order to help people take their mind off important issues. Like, look, cat doesn't want to be taken away. Like, the cat enjoys what it is. Alright? Like, cat aggressive. A cat scratchy. See, you already forgot about what we were talking about. Like, honestly, someone from a corporation just hire me. Hire me and I will do such a good job in helping people relax. You will see that the level of depression and mental illnesses are just going to drop to almost non-existent levels if you just put me in charge. But anyway, maybe I shouldn't talk about the aristocracy anymore, because just by mentioning them, bad things can happen. Like, you just need to let them do what needs to be done and just remove them from memory. Because you know, like, what the D for Democrat stands for? It stands for demonetization. Like, if you talk about them too much in a video, you might get demonetized. So let's talk about other things. For example, CNN just posted that after all this time, alright, after all this time that people believe that China was one of the few nations in the world that managed to get rid of the pandemic, well, turns out that, you know, a couple of leaked documents shows that maybe they mishandled it. You know, maybe the President Xi over there was being like a Trumpist. And he didn't do the necessary things in order to stop the spread. But you know what I think? I think CNN might be mistaken. I think CNN might be mistaken. Because if this is the case, Twitter would not fact check it. You know, like when China posted on their Twitter that they're handling it, and they were posting like the number, Twitter would have been like, no, okay, this is being disputed. Like, this is not actual information. And since Twitter didn't do that, I think CNN is wrong. I think CNN is posting this information now. Because, you know, how can you doubt the fact checkers? I mean, they are experts on truth. And you do not doubt the experts, right? Though there is, allegedly, a power more powerful than the fact checkers. There is something above them that very few people discuss. They only talk about it in whispers at street corners, about the power above the fact checker. Do you know what that power is? The power of the lawyers. Because you see, Candace Owens here posted some misinformation. She said that Joe Biden is literally and legally not the president-elect. This is horrible. How can you say something like this in 2020? So why is the media pretending that? Now, PolitiFact fact-checked this and said that no, Candace Owens is wrong. So she decided to sue. And after suing, PolitiFact issued a correction. PolitiFact originally labeled this video false in our capacity as a third-party fact-checker for Facebook. On November the 20th, an appeal for that decision was made on behalf of Ms. Owens. PolitiFact approved the appeal, determined that a correction was appropriate, and removed the false rating. This is just scary. I am saying it's scary. Using the judicial power to threaten experts on truth should not be allowed. Honestly, like, this is dangerous for our democracy. I think that in the future, anyone that brings this up should be censored. Like, this type of information should not be leaked to the public, to the masses. Because again, like, the masses, the simpletons, they don't know what to do with this information. So, like, this should not be disclosed. No, but seriously, like, look at this. Weeks ago, Facebook censored a post of mine which truthfully stated... I can't even repeat this. Like, it's so abhorrent to say. Like, don't you feel like your mouth is dirty to say, like, he's not the president? Like, no. So I got lawyers involved. Conclusion, PolitiFact uncensored the post and admitted that they lied by rating my post false. Well, no, they didn't lie. see, this is pissing me off. This is just like, oh God. Fact checkers do not lie, okay? They make glitches. Like, sometimes it can glitch. They make a mistake, like to err is to human, but they do not lie. Jesus. I mean, look how wise the fact checker are. They almost reach divinity level. They're like the gods of truth. I want to pray to them every night so that I don't speak lies. You know, like, wouldn't it be nice if everyone would just have a fact checker on their shoulder? Like, take for example this one. You know, a photo shows Jen Psaki, Joe Biden's pick for press secretary, wearing a hammer and a sickle hat while posing with officials from Russia. And they decided, oh yes, okay, it's missing context. They're like, you know, like they have a point. Apparently the lady was there with a diplomatic mission and she got the hat as a present. I mean, you can't just wipe your ass with the present, right? Like, you have to show that you like it, even though you disagree with it. Especially when you're a member in a foreign country and you don't want to risk, you know, poisoning international relations. Like, I get it. But let's look at another ruling. Trump campaign shirts features Imperial Eagle, a Nazi symbol. Okay, this is true. No, this is absolutely... There's no context to be had there. There's absolutely no context. I mean, the American Eagle, I mean, I look at it, you know what I think? I think fascism. Because, you know, like, everything America does is fascist. Even when trying to conquer the stars. No, like, it shouldn't be allowed. Because, like, if you try to colonize the moon, then people might not care about the important things, like climate change, right? Because then, like, human beings would be like some sort of locusts. They just go in and devour barren planets, according to Werner Herzog, okay? So no, we should not. We should not look to the stars for solutions. We should look for big government here on Earth. Like, that's going to provide solutions. More taxes, big government that like sinks into every single aspect of your life to make sure that you make the correct and reasonable decisions. And only then can we progress as a society. Like, only fascists look to the skies and people like Elon Musk, you know, thinking about colonizing Mars. Horrible. Meanwhile, in other more uplifting news, Joe Biden chooses an all-female senior White House press team. Now, that is very progressive. That is incredibly progressive. You know what I think? That, heaven forbid, if the United States decides to, you know, I don't want to say war because it sounds bad, but to intervene. To intervene the Bush way, right? To do a Bush in the Middle East under the new progressive administration. At least the people in those countries that are getting intervened by the Americans with drones and whatnot, they can say, you know, we are so lucky. Why is that, Ahmed? Why are we lucky? Because the people attacking us are progressive. Like, this is a historical event. Like the first female vice president with pronouns in her bio that is part of the administration doing this stuff. Wouldn't you want to be part of that? Like, that is so beautiful. You know, like, this is so American. You know, and now we can be back to the America of the world that, what was it? America World Police was criticizing. Alright, you know what? Enough about America. Like, that's a lot of American news from now. Let's talk about something. Let's talk about Canada. You know, when's the last time we discussed Canada? So, I like to play a game every now and then. Can you figure out what the Canadian politicians are talking about? So I'm just going to give you a small clip, and you're going to just try to figure out what are they actually talking about. So, this is from the House of Commons, alright? And I want you to take a break, right? Like, just stop doing what you're doing. Stop playing video games. Just look at the screen and really try to understand what this lady is saying, and then answer the question, what do you think the Canadian Parliament is actually discussing?
Thank you, Chairperson. Je m'appelle Adrienne Smith. I'm joining you today from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish people as well. As an uninvited settler in occupation, I'm committed to a decolonization that involves reparations and the return of land. I'm a social justice lawyer, and I'm a non-binary person. I use they, them, and their pronouns. En français, c'est il avec l'agrément masculin ou neutre, et je peux répondre à vos questions en français. I'm in support of my submission today.
So what do you think they were talking about? I mean, was it to give back the land to the indigenous people? I mean, those are the people in the government, right? Like, they could just say, all right, we're going to give back the land. You know, we're going to make autonomous zones. Like, they could actually do it, right? Do you think that was what the conversation was about? Because if that's what you think, you were absolutely wrong. No, the conversation was actually about a controversial bill, apparently Bill C6, which could criminalize or ban efforts to discourage young children from transitioning. Now, what does this have to do with indigenous land? No, hold on. I'll find the connection. I'll find the connection. Holy crap, I can't find the connection. I guess maybe there were like some Elon Musks in the past, which I guess like colonized Canada, but that was like a necessary evil in order for Canada to become progressive and pass Bill C6. I don't know. Someone in the chat, like you really need to explain to me the connections, but I just found it interesting. Just like I find this interesting. Apparently, Sia defends casting non-disabled actor to portray autistic character. How dare you cast a non-autistic actor to play the role of an autistic person? It's almost as if you would operate on the presumption that actors are supposed to play things they're not. Like, no, every single actor needs to play themselves in all of the movies. Like, remember that controversy when Patrick Stewart was casted as Charles Xavier and he was in a wheelchair? I mean, people were outraged. Like, how can you cast an actor that can walk as a person in a wheelchair? That's an abomination on the movie industry. Like, you shouldn't be able to do that. It should not be allowed. Yeah, no, it's quite bewildering. Like, if you want to have a movie about a cancer patient, you know, like, the actor should be suffering from cancer. Like that's how it works. If you have a movie about, I don't know, Martin Luther King, like, you should bring some necromancers to resurrect the guy from the dead so he can play himself. Because, like, no, you can't, like, the idea that an actor can play something they're not is astonishing. Like, it's something of a reactionary concept, in my opinion. So, no, I disagree with Sia. Like, she should not defend casting a non-disabled actor to portray an autistic character. This is horrible. And also, like, this is a double whammy, actually. Like, are you saying that autism is a disability? Did you not see the Predator movie? Like, you had a faring space alien coming to Earth in order to steal the autism gene so that they can enrich the Predator species. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's the plot of the movie. Oh, and global warming. No, seriously, if you haven't seen The Last Predator, I'm not joking. Like, that is literally, like, I have spoiled you. I have given you spoilers. And I'm really sorry if you got upset over this. You know, I'm really sorry if you're annoyed that I spoiled, but you have to understand, like, I predict the future every single time. You know, when I tell people, like, this is going to happen, it happens. And for some reason, like, people thank me when I do that with real life. But when I do it with entertainment, they get really angry. But, like, for me, like, you need to consider it from my point of view. Like, considering that I do it all the time with everything, it's very hard for me to discriminate between real life and fiction. So, yeah, I mean, you don't believe that I have the power to predict the future, do you? Huh? You don't think? All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to predict how Biden's administration is going to turn like. Are you ready? Are you ready? Like, okay, fine. Let me cast some magic. Let me do some mojo. Here's what's going to transpire.
The first lady to be told me she holds them for you.
Yes, she does, but not with she and Kamala have become friends. Yeah. But all kidding aside, it's a matter of the thing. We are simpatico on our philosophy of government and simpatico on how we want to approach these issues that we're facing. And so I don't have and. When we disagree, it'll be just like, so far, it's been just like when Barack and I did. It's in private. She'll say, I think we should do A, B, C, or D. And I'll say, I like A, don't like B and C. Mm-hmm. And it's go, okay. And like I told Barack, if I reach something where there's a fundamental disagreement we have based on a moral principle, I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign.
Now, isn't that based on democratic pill? Isn't that what's going to happen in the future? I guess we'll see. You know, we'll see. We still have 4 years. I guess anything can happen, and if it turns out that I'm right, you guys will give me a super chat, right? Because like I predicted things. I'm like the prophet, telling like this is what's going to transpire, and it transpires, man. What should we talk about? You know what we should talk about? The fact that I made it big, you guys. I finally managed to appear in the papers. Me, your very own Romanian has appeared into an article from the Daily Dot. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my god, let's read it. So, Studio Fo responded 2 separate ways. First, Studio Fo's community manager, Fo Chan, wrote a post explaining that Studio Fo was not aware at the time that evil, misogynist Arch Warhammer had made racist and other controversial statements in the past, which the team does not agree with. Our personal beliefs and politics could not be further from the truth. They said, we are now and have always been an inclusive community, which is reflected in the rules of our Discord and the work of our moderation team. The post, which has now been removed, was documented, listen to this, was documented by right-wing YouTuber Romanian TV, who defended Arch by claiming very progressive people do not seem to like the pleasures of virtual flesh, nor the virtual titty. Like, this is black and white. This is in the papers. This is like extra, read all about it type of thing. I gotta say, like, the mademoiselle that wrote this article, I got tears in my eye. Like, she has been the nicest lady from a publication towards me for years. Like, since I started my YouTube channel, no one actually managed to write something about me without lying, slandering, or omitting context. Like, this is the first time. You know, I mean, normally I don't go around when I meet the parents of my fiance and I say, hey, I'm V, the right-winger. You know, like, it's not like my introduction card. It's not like how I usually speak. It's like, like for example, if I'm in a store and someone goes like, hey, the right-winger over there, can you come up to the cashier? You know, like, I don't know if they're talking about me, but at least she didn't say far right. I mean, that's a new one. Because I definitely agree. I don't consider myself far right. Like, I wouldn't want to disappoint the audience. You know, like, people would come to my channel expecting edginess and, you know, like, the political opinions that your mother warned you about. And then they would watch my videos and they would be disappointed. Because that's not what I'm talking about. You know, I'm talking about freedom, liberty, human rights, that type of thing. And, you know, like, they might listen to it and it's like, oh, you know, like, I was told I would find something more edgy. And then they downvote my video, and I don't want that to happen. So, no, I really want to appreciate, like, for the first time ever, I see journalism from the Daily Dot. That's something, you know, aspiring. Now, I don't know if she agrees with me, which is fine, you know, like, she probably disagrees that very progressive people do not like the virtual titty, but I can use an argument here, right? Like, I can I can empathize on what I wanted to say. You see, video games and comic books used to have a lot of lewdness. Because, surprise, boobies sell. You know, it's why the Grand Prix used to have the grid girls. It's why E3 used to have boof babes. Teenagers are very easy to be persuaded by, as the paper likes to say, the virtual titty. You know, it happens, man. But then you have very prestigious publications with much sway into the video gaming industry, like Polygon, Kotaku, Rock Paper Shotgun, so on and so forth, which said that, no, see, if you show a boobie, it objectifies women, and it creates a rape culture, and that's horrible. And because of that, video game developers started censoring themselves. And they started hiring people in positions of power, like in the HR departments and other places, in order to make sure that the artist understands that they should not draw the titty. And the result is obvious. I mean, you get to see it in Mortal Kombat, The Last of Us, Diablo IV, the pictures that came out with how the female barbarian used to look like. And it's literally not just the fact that they're covering up the female characters. No. It's also the fact that they remove any feminine feature. So they add strong jawlines, very small breasts, like all of the characters suffer from titty cancer, you know, broad shoulders. And this is done on purpose. While the male characters remain the same. The male characters are still like buff, very muscular, very, very strong fictional characters. And that's what I was trying to explain. I think this censorship serves no purpose. I think it's just like pandering to a non-clientele. And they agree with the far right. I mean, Torba from Gab, Andrew Torba, agrees now with the people from Polygon and Kotaku that lewd imagery is problematic for the youth. The only thing they disagree on is the reason why it's problematic. Andrew Torba probably thinks because it offends God and masturbation is bad or something, and the far left believes it's because it objectifies women, but at the end of the day, they agree with the thing. You know, like, I don't care about the rationale and the journey that they traverse in order to reach the conclusion, but when they both see Bayonetta, okay, Kotaku and Polygon decides to give it a lower grade, because it's a game that objectifies women, even though there's no women in it, because it's a fictional thing. It's virtual. It's pixels on the screen. Like, it's not an actual human being. And, you know, so, this was an interesting week. I hope the moderator from YouTube is going to laugh at the jokes and is going to appreciate it, because everything is in good humor, right? I'm not being serious in this segment. I'm not like, do not correlate anything that I talk about with real events. How do they say, like, any correlation with real events is purely coincidental. And all of it is to bring a smile on the faces of people. That's why I do this segment, you know, because politics can be depressing. It can be difficult to, how do they put it, the youngster, to cope. It's difficult to cope. So I'm trying to, you know, lighten up the mood, make people smile, put like a grin on the audience. And if you enjoyed it, I'm now going to hold the sermon by asking you to share this video, thumb it up, and if you really enjoyed it, you can get some buyer's remorse by donating me some money through either super chats or signing up to my Subscribestar. And if you're the YouTube moderator that's reviewing this video, you can send me money as well. You know, like, I don't discriminate. We're an inclusive community here. I even take money from YouTube moderators, right? No, but seriously, like, I noticed on my channel, okay, every single video that I upload is being reviewed by manual review. It's like there's a guy out there that has to suffer my squeaky voice. Like, every single time I speak with this, like, annoying octave, the guy has to sit through. It's his job. It's his job. So, I guess, you know, it can be two things. Number one, he disagrees with me, and then he has to suffer through it. Number two, he actually likes it and he's smiling. And all of his colleagues that are watching say, why are you smiling, dude? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you should be miserable. Turn off the air conditioner. Yeah, the guy at YouTube is feeling a little bit too happy. You're not supposed to be happy at a corporation. You're supposed to be in a cubicle, huh? But anyway, right, let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.